one thing that's going to be for sure is that the game is going to be hectic and it's going to come down to some crazy team fight. And I think if you look back through a lot of the TSM versus CLG series, even though in recent time we haven't won as many against them, you'll see that it usually comes down to crazy fights. Like I think at the beginning of the split, we literally lost the game because we didn't protect the wave as we were about to end the game because they got Baron, they won a team fight, and all hope is looking lost for us. And then Afro just makes a clutch recon play. We kill Doublelift and Bjergsen instantly, and we're about to end the game. And then just because we didn't defend our wave, we just lost the game. And it's just like a lot of the moments against TSM, it's tense, you know? And it's exciting for a reason. It's because a lot of the games are close. And we definitely have had a lot of moments where we've beaten TSM. And I think this upcoming to playoffs and coming to the end of the season, like it's going to be some intense close games again, because I feel like TSM isn't as nearly as dominant as they were before when they had Doublelift last year. And I think we're starting to gel more as a team. And I think another thing is no team has ever won more than 2 splits in a row. So sorry, TSM, we're going to take this one.
Well,
it's going to have to start now then.
That last one certainly wasn't too close, but welcome back as the teams gear up for round 2 of CLG versus TSM. Read from Darshan. Yes, a lot of those series do become very tense, but it's going to have to start here in game 2, because that was just across the board, complete domination from TSM.
Yeah, it was a really good job by TSM snowballing, as they talked about in the analyst test and as we were talking about in the game. Game number 2, CLG definitely have to be a bit more proactive early. It looked like TSM had a pretty clear game plan of trying to open up that mid lane. And man, they brought everybody in there and really allowed Bjergsen to continue to make plays throughout.
Well, we'll see what happens here in the draft as CLG swap over to the blue side. They'll take Syndra away, who did not get any attention at all in game number 1. Is going to be the first ban here. CLG, I'm guessing some mid lane target bans are going to start to happen. They're on the blue side and feel like they have a bit more flexibility.
Yeah, definitely have more flexibility on the blue side, and since we are switching sides, we'll get to see CLG's take. Maybe TSM still have to sacrifice a ban to put in Aurelion Soul. So they have to choose between the likes of Zac and Maokai, you know, Gragas, Kalista, all these power picks here really floating around. And do they still want to, you know, fit in the basically Huhi tax that you have to pay in Champion Select?
Well, Caitlyn is their first ban. That's a standard one, certainly. Thresh actually following for Afro, as Kalista once again gets banned by TSM.
Haven't paid their taxes yet.
See if it costs them 20 seconds for CLG's last ban. It will be Tristana. So again, that same phase 1 marksman attention paid by both teams, and the tax not paid this time. That's a Zac ban to round it out.
All right, we'll see if they're audited or not. CLG. You never want to early pick Aurelion, so we're talking this up a lot, like, oh my god, it's going to be crazy. They, in plenty of games where it's not banned, do not pick it, right? This is a unique champion where you need to have viable side lanes to roam to. You have to have a viable matchup. It's not even going to be a case, though, as they immediately blind pick the Taliyah, which, to be fair, was a huge part of the last game, but man, that is a bold one. We haven't seen, actually.
And it's one of the, it's one of the most played champions for these two. Mid laners, Bjergsen now with 9 plays on it. His second most played right behind that Syndra that was banned, and it's Huhi's most played champion. So I get it, but you're trading Taliyah, a very good champion, for Maokai, arguably a better champion.
And not just Maokai, it's first crack at AD carries with triple AD carry bans here. Tristana, Kalista, and Caitlyn all off the table. TSM have their pick of the litter.
Could even go for support if they feel like that instead. Lots of options here for TSM. They're just deciding on what this second pick should be.
Gragas is interesting because oftentimes we'll see teams trade, you know, Maokai, Gragas back and forth. It could still be the case here in CLG. We very well know that Omar loves his champion and he feels comfortable on it. So it does seem like a no-brainer for CLG to grab the Gragas here while they still can. You don't want to let that go through to the second ban phase because he would not still be available. You know, in kind of answer to the Jarvan Maokai lockup.
Yeah, kind of interesting to see TSM again pick top and jungle so early. I mean, there is some flexibility there, so you can kind of change up which champion goes where, but certainly showing some of those lanes as Alistar will get locked in there for CLG. I mean, I feel like every time this happens, I always say it's a long-time aphromoo champion just because he's been playing for a very long time and does often show up on these types of playmakers, but Gragas is going to get locked in as well. And I think this time OmarGod's going to be the one piloting the champion.
Yeah, we talked about it last time, but the flex to Sejuani is still possible. Don't expect it to come through number 2 here. Gragas definitely a bit more scary as far as the level 3 ganks and coming in with that flash. So see what CLG can pull off. aphromoo though, we know one thing, he's back on the Alistar. CLG will be more proactive.
And there's actually Braum for TSM. So Biofrost going to take pretty good melee champion for this matchup. Of course, that means more ADs can get banned away. So we'll see what changes here in phase 2 of bans. Kind of a lot still to be decided with these early picks. Again, even though TSM are showing 2 top side champions, don't necessarily know where they're going. And as a top lane ban for TSM, so going to take Shen away from Darshan here.
What's for sure is we're definitely in for some more big team fights. We have a beefy front line here for TSM. Same for CLG. And see if we... I was thinking that they might actually whittle the mid lane pool down more, considering TSM actually have let Bjergsen drop. But Bjergsen's champ pool is very, very deep. He even pulled out the Xerath. No, they didn't win with it, but he does definitely have that ability. So maybe they feel like it's a drop in the bucket. I still feel like it's, you know, nice to take them off of, you know, the Orianna tier and Cassiopeia and stuff like that.
Yep. We'll see, now banned by TSM, so another top laner as Cog actually gets banned by CLG. Again, neither of these teams have picked a bot laner just yet, so these bans do hurt both sides, but TSM will get first pick in phase 2, and there's Sivir ban. So TSM can have first pick of whatever bot laner is left, because that's 5 bot lane bans.
5 marksmen banned out here. Let's take a look. Ashe is still there, Jhin is still there, Varus is still there. A lot of the AD carries that have been interviewed have talked about how much they like, you know, the versatility down there right now. So maybe we even get to see a Xayah, honestly, because she actually, with that ultimate, can kind of fend for herself a little bit when games have a whole bunch of melees.
Bjergsen deciding that he wants Corki once again. Had a cracker of a game on it already this weekend, but they're actually counter-picking AD, which is funny given how many bans have already been taken. So Stixxay going to get his first choice here. 2 fan favorites getting flushed, but I don't think that's going to happen. Looks like Ashe is likely to go here. Or Varus. You know what? Both those champions. Oh, come on, man. All right, it's going to be...
That's why you don't go over the hover space tree. Dragging you around like a little monkey.
At least it wasn't Warwick. It's last pick now for CLG, as they do take Ashe.
That's true. All right, so again, they're going to have the Ashe, the Alistar, the Gragas. Like, both teams have all the engage. Honestly, we probably don't even have to mention it for any sort of games in these meta right now, because both teams are always drafting that. What you definitely do want is damage to back up the beefy front line that you have. Whoa, and a Fiora in her weakened state after the nerfs. Darshan still goes with the Fiora, even over Camille, who has been favored so much more. I like it.
Was banned as well by TSM in the last game, so it was an option here, but it's like Darshan's going to say, I want to be on split but shooty, and Doublelift going to bust out
the DPS for the 5-on-5 fights. They lock in 2 of the highest. Corki, one of the highest for the mid lane. Jinx down there on the bottom side. Doublelift has been on record talking about how simple of a champion Jinx is, and she's just more of a kind of, you know, win team fights more. If your team is doing well, it depends so much on your team to protect you and then to get you your first kill. Basically, you get 1 kill on Jinx and you go off. Once you have your crit multipliers and that extra speed, we'll see if they can do it. And if they can, feel for him and keep him safe, because CLG are packing a lot of engage with a possible split push. Now we've got another look to this 7-15 type of strategy here. Will Darshan get some early attention, to try and get him through that early phase of the game? Maokai still puts out some decent damage, early on in lane. Fiora does love the matchup though versus tanks, and try and make good use of the vitals.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, you just kind of swap comps here, or at least swap strategies for the teams. This time, CLG are going to have more side lane pressure, and TSM will arguably have better 5v5. So, I mean, it won't be quite as lopsided as it could have been, given how the game snowballed in game 1, because Bjergsen will be piloting teleport into this game, so has a bit more roam pressure on the Corki, but certainly interesting to see how this one works out. And for the first Jinx pick of this summer in the NLCS, Doublelift might be ending his regular season with quite the performance. And a champion that we have not yet seen in this split.
Oh man, this is definitely exciting. Another thing that they usually mention is the lane phase as well for Jinx. We'll see how well he can make use of, you know, the rocket form early on.
So we're going to fly out of base. Got Bjergsen and Biofrost behind him. We'll see exactly where the teams go at level 1. CLG already found themselves out here onto the rift, so nothing too crazy happening. But TSM are going to sneak into this brush, and Stixxay, none the wiser. TSM going to go around and maybe try and...
They're still in fog.
Oh,
Braum hits!
No flashes though. Stixxay, yep, getting exhausted. That's going to be a sum. Stixxay forced to flash early.
All right, just the exhaust blown for TSM, and they are able to get the flash on the AD carry down. That will do a lot to help out the TSM duo.
Pink Cow going to have to run. aphromoo still getting spotted by the squad. Looks like no extra pressure here for TSM. Darshan and Omar actually did get some vision down, so one on red, one on the Raptor brush there. Plenty of vision here, but looks like Sven just going to start on the simple place here.
And even though these are like the most common wards that have come about in competitive play, it is incredibly important to get those wards versus a Maokai Jarvan. Maokai sets up super leashes for Jarvan just by himself on the top side, and Jarvan can come literally gank Fiora while she's still level 1 with red buff and level 2 and a combo, and it's almost a guaranteed first blood. Darshan, that's why he's sticking around here, really trying to harass them and make sure that Sven doesn't make an early visit to the top side. He is getting beat up, though.
Yeah.
We talked about the damage that Maokai can put on early in the game. Courage of the Colossus makes it a very good trade for Hauntzer. Darshan, though, he's just going to try and heal back up off Vital Procs and off the minion wave. He does have his Doran's Blade to try and help with that.
And looks like nice ping there from CLG onto the Raptor camp, because they did not see Sven, who smited Gret and walked all the way down to this portion of the map towards Scuttle. So this could be a very early gank, maybe even to the bottom lane here.
He knows that the Ashe does not have flash. This is purely because they were able to get Stixxay's flash that early in the game, and he's right behind him.
Oh, there's a flash in from Bio already on the Stixxay. The first stuff's going to come. The Lockup's going to move the red buff Jarvan straight down the ball, and Stixxay's down. First blood to Doublelift.
Level 2 Jarvan, red buff and gank. Immediately punish Stixxay for the level 1. TSM off to another good start.
What did you say about Jinx needing 1 kill to start snowballing? Well, Doublelift got it, and he got the best possible one as Omar is going to steal the Raptor.
Man. Not only is it a kill, but the wave was just crashing into CLG's turret as well. Stixxay loses out on massive CS here. That one punished it so hard. Yeah, Omar's going to be able to get the Raptors, but Jarvan does not care. Mission accomplished.
And Doublelift going to go straight back to spend that gold. See what he does. Invest in, oh my goodness, that's a pickaxe. As we'll see this one again.
Biofrost, really good setup here. Flashes for the guaranteed hits here. Gets his passive. Easy to get off the flag and drag after that. And Ashe, we stated, does not have any dashes of her own. Dead meat.
Yep, really creative stuff there from Sven in the early jungle. So bot lane going well for TSM. Checking with the mid lane though, even on farm right now. As Huhi trying to guess with that seismic shot, but Bjergsen farming up just nicely here on Corki. Top side is going well for Darshan though. Having that early edge in the tank matchup seems to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, basically tanks for Fiora are just a source of health. That's why we talked about in the early trade, even though Hauntzer got a good trade, Darshan was not worried about it. You know, he has Doran's Blade, heals up on the minions, he also procs the vitals, and he didn't have to use his potion. Now he's back to full health. Meanwhile, Bjergsen, definitely some good numbers for him.
Yep, career stats there versus CLG. Win rate looking good. That's a lot of games played though, 40 against that team. Again, give you an idea of how long the rivalry's been going for.
And how long Bjergsen has been in North America. People kind of forget. There's a reason why he's considered a North American resident for the team comp rules. Let's see where this goes.
Looks like minions are on Hauntzer side now, kind of turning back around. So Darshan going to lose out in the overall health trade there. No junglers to tip the balance just yet, though, but Hauntzer kind of smells some blood there. A little low on mana, though, as Huhi also getting pressured down. Darshan needs another big chunk of burst from Maokai.
Yeah, no vision and a bunch of minions means that he's got to back off here. Hauntzer will get this push off, but Darshan, even after this, is going to have a big CS lead. Should be able to get all of these. Sven is not here in time for any sort of tower dive, so Darshan, that's why he was backing off and giving a little bit of extra room because there's a possible tower dive. Instead, he's going for the blue steal here. OmarGod gets over to the other side. He does have Smite available. It's a fight.
My fight! Oh, Sven wins it, and now Omar's getting pressured. Thunderlord's procs from the Jarvan.
He already used his Q to help out with the blue, so flag coming down, not really too scary, and Omar will be able to walk away, but he's going to have to keep on walking.
Yep, Sven looking to steal even more. Omar again still has Smite, gets that one as he takes the big wolf out of the way.
Nice Smite against the guy who already used his and stole your blue. Ah.
Not much of a fight, but Bjergsen actually backing off. Does have TP, but didn't really want to use it. Hauntzer also burning his TP, going to go back to top lane to try and keep up on CS. Way pushing away into Hauntzer, though, means that Darshan also going to have to TP back just to make sure he can keep up.
And Darshan didn't actually get too many minions off that big wave, so CS going to be just fine there. Svenskeren goes in, able to get some extra catch-up experience off the Raptors. Remember, he's actually in front of Omar now, even though he went for the level 2 gank. That's how important it is to keep track of the Raptor spawns of your opponent to get any sort of lead.
Oh, a big way for Hauntzer to actually grab here if he can get most of the CS will be ahead. So it could be tough here versus Fiora, but we'll see exactly what he can get done. Sven also in the area, but Hauntzer just going to let the wave come to him.
He doesn't go with the clobber all of them at once strategy. He's being more tactful about it.
That one usually loses you most of the minions. So
that's the only one I know, though. Spam all of my AoE at it and be like, please.
The classic jungler CSing.
Yep.
Just close your eyes and pray.
All right, Darshan's moving in to punish Sven, though.
Sven forced the flash. But it looks like red buff could go over to CLG. This would be a great pickup for Darshan. And going to be uncontested. TSM, no TPing in. That's Bjergsen. He's going to force him off this buff. Red reset, but oh, great shove onto Bjergsen. Darshan even ulting. Now going to chase back in. The flash is in. Knock back there is going to be enough. Bjergsen goes down to Darshan. Ultimate from Maokai. Not far enough in. And Sven also going to die here. Blue over to Huhi.
I mean, TSM, they had Hauntzer still picking up minions, so it seemed like maybe half of them were on board with this play. Bjergsen with the teleport Corki comes in, and Huhi times the seismic shove so well. This is something, by the way. We'll take a look at it here as Huhi, the biggest part of this play is him timing the seismic shove for the exact arrival. Did you know you can click on the ward and see a little timer counting down so that you can more accurately time your spells? Any tip for you guys at home there, so you can pull off those types of plays that Huhi just did. You know, he gets Bjergsen into the rest of the team, then Bjergsen has to end up valking and flashing out, but it's too late, right? The flashes in answer are already there for Darshan and Omar to collapse. Good job by CLG, really capitalizing on that play, and nice timing.
Yeah, really good stuff in general. Huhi gonna keep converting that pressure. Omar trying to gank again. Shove gonna miss. Oh, almost. Had the Gragas ulti to line that up. That would have been a beautiful play. Instead, Bjergsen gonna just escape.
All right, return to this top lane, which has been interrupted too many times.
Bramblevest actually doing quite a lot of work here. Stun onto Darshan. Vital proc. Hauntzer gets the slow chase down. Hauntzer might be looking for a 1v1, but Darshan, back to the comfort of his minion wave, should be okay. You can see Hauntzer playing very well in this 1v1. I mean, Fiora did get weakened, but tank items also got buffed.
That's true. It was a good, well-timed riposte there from Darshan to be able to answer the twisted advance. It does seem fairly simple to do, but he was able to pull it off. Also, queuing away during the arcane smash. No problems for him escaping. He still does have to put up defensive vision, though, because like we kind of alluded to before, it is a possible dive. Maokai can actually start it off, then use Twisted Advance later to drop tower aggro. Jarvan brings plenty of damage to early ganks, even though he builds full tank. So as low as Darshan is getting, he's playing it actually quite well. So you have to kind of play on that razor's edge. If you give kills over to Maokai, then the other team usually snowballs in team fighting. It's not really going to do a bunch in the 1v1, but TSM already looking for 5-on-5s later in the game anyway.
Yeah, it looks like it's about time to check backing with the bot lane, actually. I've seen a lot of action top. Farm's very even there, and we did see Doublelift get the very early advantage. Now has a BF sword to join in with that pickaxe, and you can see he's decent amount of seats ahead, about 15 currently. But Stixxay is holding on nicely, has his build order already, so looks like the rest of bot lane just been kind of a farm fest, and TSM really haven't had the same early pressure they had in the last game here. It's actually CLG that's done very well to keep the game afloat, give themselves one kill of an advantage, which isn't much, but is certainly better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely be a bit of a tilter. You're talking about the bottom lane, and yeah, you know, blowing your flash level 1 is very painful, and then being punished for it right after that, losing a giant, you know, sum of CS right afterwards as well. CLG trying to stabilize it after that. They actually have lost extra CS even in addition to those early waves, but they're actually still going to be the target. So have to respect the package whenever Bjergsen gets it. Just kind of makes life for the CLG bottom lane very, very difficult. And they're trying to deal with it.
Yeah, Bjerg was on top of a control ward, unfortunately for him. Looks like Sven, yep, going to go back and clear it. Bjerg just letting Sven counter jungle those Raptors, so did spot it. But package respected by CLG. Smart to play back and kind of wait out that cooldown. Doesn't last too long.
Does not. Darshan, meanwhile, with the punching bag up top side.
Punching bag punches back a little with the Bramble Vest, but Hauntzer again does have to give respect to the Fiora. And just going to farm these up, kind of relinquish that pressure as Darshan darts into the jungle to get some vision.
I was pretty curious how the introduction of Bramble Vest was going to change this matchup. Doesn't look like it has caused Darshan much difficulty quite yet. But definitely some good CS there on the top side for Hauntzer.
Yeah, maybe more even than you might expect for the Maokai. So could have at least get the matchup back to parity, but CLG more interested in this mid lane gank at the moment, moving a lot of resources to try and take it down. TSM looking to react as Bjergsen does get knocked back, but not quite into the rocks by the looks of things. And Biofrost and Sven are here to protect their mid laners. So as always, TSM playing around that mid lane. Bjergsen going to be safe for now as Afro backs off from the potential dive. Doublelift also has an Infinity Edge now finished, so TSM feeling strong, going to try and start this streak.
Yeah.
And the CLG recalling.
It looked like CLG were trying to pull off a similar thing that TSM did in the last game, but TSM have wards. They've got wards in the river around that mid lane, so they see it coming, and not only does Bjergsen back off, and Bjergsen play it defensively and appropriately and not die there, but then after the recall, after that failed play, they then slip in for the objective as well. Yes, it is on the bottom side where TSM already had their big advantage. They already have the fed lane on the bottom side, and Dragon would probably be their territory anyway, but it does make it easy for them to slip in without expending resources.
Well, it looks like major item spikes coming across the board here. Already mentioned Doublelift's IE. Trinity Force close to done as Bjergsen finishes that last component, that last little recall. Blade should be done for Stixxay soon. And first items for both Darshan and Huhi also not far away. And this turret taking a lot of hurt actually. Bjergsen going to return, but CLG grouping to try and take this down. Wave here from Bjerg is good, but they're actually looking to make a counterplay here as Biofrost and Svenskeren once again here in the mid lane.
Yeah, CLG really, really want to take this turret down, open up the map a little bit so they can start creating plays by splitting TSM apart. It's their whole game plan.
Moby boots Alistar. Oh, great catch! Does get the back, but Bjerg still flashes, gets out from under. Potential stun there from Afro as he charged up the trample.
Now he's flashless at a weakened turret. TSM do have some defense in the area though, as Svenskeren and Biofrost both have been roaming around that area, and CLG will back off just with the flashes traded there.
And despite Stixxay being down about 20 CS, Doublelift not being able to do too much just yet, although Afro has taken some hits, but should be alright. Sven gonna poke that red buff. Looks like TSM trying to play to their bot side strength, but Omar already here. Huhi ready with level 2 wall, so I don't think Sven can commit here.
Constantly looking for the invade. Looks like TSM really want to force around this bottom side of the mat. Teleports are available for the top laners, but Maokai has a bigger impact if he teleports in at this stage of the game. Courage of the Colossus is great for early game team fights, and the ultimate coming through would definitely provide a lot more.
I like this rotation though from TSM. Going to move into the mid lane and actually try and get first turret down before CLG can do too much, but already two-man defense. Taliyah's wave clear should be enough, and is. TSM just kind of poking in, throwing out a jab, but easy block there from CLG as the lane will continue. This game is very close. 15 minutes in and gold is dead even. Yes, CLG have a kill up, but TSM have a Cloud Drake, and other than that, team's still waiting to really blow the game open. Even just taking the first turret is actually a pretty big advantage given how close the game currently is.
Exactly, and considering the team compositions where CLG want to open up the map, split TSM apart, and TSM are looking to group up. They have Trinity Force on the Corki. Doublelift wants to get to a Zeal item for his Infinity Edge, and then they get to play 5-on-5.
Looks like gold to be spent though. Hauntzer has a ton of unspent money. Doublelift just went back to spend his, as Bjergsen going to pick up that blue buff as well. Looks like he's finished Triforce now, so people starting to get to those early points.
Yeah. The odd thing to remember too is that Bjergsen has teleport on this Corki. Not the most common of summoner spells on the Corki, but in the mid lane here, it definitely is a possibility for TSM to pull off a double teleport.
Everyone's just kind of chilling. Looks like TSM are actually moving their duo lane out, trying to apply some pressure here to that top lane, and again, win that early race for first turret here. Bjergsen packages the mid lane. He wants to keep that pushed out as fast as possible while this play is starting. Doublelift already to the way, but Afro, looks like CLG have also seen this as Biofrost may be caught. Doublelift has to be careful. Afro going to pulverize him and hit him into the turret. Takes the turret in, flashes back into the cart, and now gets moved back. Doublelift goes down to OmarGod. That one's a head scratcher.
We have had some weird Afro Doublelift interactions this time. It almost seems like they still feel like they're on the same team, because Afro just walks right up to him for that. He did not have flash for this. Just walks up to Doublelift at the turret, lands the pulverize and headbutt. He's like, okay, buddy.
Too keen for Doublelift on that play. Far too keen.
Like, wait a second. You're not on my team anymore.
And that means they lose the race to first turret. CLG slay the mid outer, get the bonus gold, and take a very critical turret. So that map opening up that they've been trying to get done for these first 17 minutes of the game. Step one is finally achieved.
Let's take another look at this. All right. aphromoo, he's running at me. Okay. Whoops. There's nothing more to say there. Focused on the minions, I believe, I guess.
Yep.
Or maybe he did not respect the fact that, you know, other members could have been there. Regardless, that is just one kill over. CLG happy to get it, though. Top lane still the focus of TSM. Gonna renew that focus. See if CLG can actually get defenses in place, though. Turret going down fairly quickly. And Stixxay.
Catch on the Stixxay, maybe. Stun's gonna land as Sven locks him up. Ulti and Doublelift finds a snipe with the rocket as Hauntzer and Bjergsen have TP'd in for this turret. They're gonna take it. But a huge committal to this top half.
Hey, it's an eye for an eye here as the other AD carry is traded over. TSM bring 4 members to answer Doublelift's death. They take down the turret afterwards, and they're going for a second.
Again, they committed 2 TPs, so they do need to take a little more, but Hauntzer barely misses Captain the recall. Huge 3-man pull from Afro, who does take out Bio with the Ignite, but now he's locked up and rooted forever. Barely able to flash out of the way. Turret's still the goal here, but TSM running out of creeps to try and help them. Still going, Omar. Huge body slam into the cast. Afro gets it in, and Sven is going to fall down, but Afro barely loses his life to Bjergsen, who takes that last turret hop, but only barely Huhi. Still trying to cut him off, though.
Oh, they're going back in!
Gets the kill. Huhi trying to ride the wall over. They need to protect Bjergsen, but Doublelift actually kind of caught Huhi in his own wall.
Big miss there. This is a 1v3 chase from Huhi. He's trying to buy time for Darshan to split push, who has taken the turret.
Again, CLG, they started with the first kill on the turret. They keep the tempo up as TSM trying to be the first to take that second turret down, but it is not to be right now. TSM a little overextension on the play. Don't get the turret either as Darshan claims the outer.
Yeah, some fancy stuff here from OmarGod and aphromoo, the Bash brothers, Alistar and Gragas. Just knockups on knockups. aphromoo survives because he flashes out. He had his ultimate on. Then as the turret gets low, Omar goes in for a second round, gets the double knockup into a really good cast under the turret. aphromoo complements it with his knockup. They get almost 2 of them, considering how low Bjergsen is, but then the chase is just too much as Svenskeren has his own flash, goes back in to get another kill.
Yeah, nice read from Hauntzer. Put those saplings in the brush, and Omar walked straight into them.
It's actually Hauntzer this time on the Maokai.
I knew what you meant.
Sly way of correcting me without calling me out. I like it, Pastry.
Well, it looks like Mountain Drake's back up, so fighting's still going to continue. Darshan Dueling Hauntzer should win. Oh, never mind. It's not a real duel. Dishonorable as ever. Bjergsen going to join as Darshan flashes. Hauntzer chasing with the Righteous Glory. Darshan, does he have riposte back up? Might not matter as the autos keep going. Bjergsen takes him down.
All right, CLG on the other side. Trying
Huhi
to get...
again going to get slammed into the arena, stunned forever. And there's the lineup as Svenskeren, not Doublelift, will take that next kill.
2 quick picks there for TSM means that the Drake actually is not going to go over to CLG now. They have plenty of room to work with. They can finish up that top side turret, very low at the moment, and then return back to the mid lane. TSM striking back. Now they have the gold lead.
Yep, Bjergsen finishes the job in top lane, takes that tier 2 turret to even that back up, and looks like TSM moving back down to that Drake side of the map as Bjergsen goes on that shopping trip. Rapid fire cannon now completed, so Carry's starting to pick up 2 items for both teams. We'll see if TSM can successfully force this Drake, and they're first to the area, so should be as TSM take another tempo hit there.
Easily going to clean up this Mountain Drake. CLG have to get back out onto the split push though. The double teleports are down for TSM. This is one of the biggest openings that CLG get in the game, is when both those teleports are down. Yes, Bjergsen does have the package, but CLG have to keep TSM split out if they want to continue to gain advantages. TSM are starting to really take over here with their 5-on-5 focus. Righteous Glory cooldown is coming back up quickly, and it's 2 item power spikes for Bjergsen and Doublelift. The big DPS is coming through now.
Hauntzer also still dueling Darshan, but not having a whole lot of success right now. Darshan doing well, actually procs all the vitals, and then he's going to keep chasing Hauntzer, who pops the Righteous Glory away. Biofrost caught out. There's actually another room coming in from Afro. Punts it back in with the headbutt, but Sven also there. Good ult there from the Maokai as Hauntzer tries to get away safely. Double takes on Afro, the blast plan. He's going to save Hauntzer, and TSM looking to turn it back around. Bjergsen, no package, but Darshan locked up on the wrong side of the map. Blunders over the wall, but he's going to get stunned. Doublelift grabs the double kill. TSM picking up the picks.
You mess with the tree, you get the whole team. Everybody comes to save Hauntzer. He does use a blast cone very well there at the end, and TSM transition over to Baron.
Hauntzer going to TP in, so this is a big commitment from TSM resource-wise.
All right, teleport comes in. They should be able to tank it up, no problem. Darshan does have his teleport, but he's dead for another 15 seconds, and CLG only have 2 members around. Can OmarGod pull off the miracle?
We'll have to see. Bjergsen took a lot of burst damage from the Taliyah. Huhi's still here with a wild spin. He's going to peel off again. They need to find the picks. Huhi going to get stunned up. That should be a kill. Bjergsen with a rocket snipes, and they keep going in onto the Baron. Bjergsen low. Have to be careful as Afro is there in the pit. They're TPing from CLG. They can't finish the Baron now. TSM gonna have to back away, looking for a pick maybe with Darshan cancels that telly, but Baron regen back to full. CLG do stop it.
Yep. Huhi gonna have to sacrifice his life to accomplish that, but Baron did so much damage to TSM, and the threat of Omar's steal is just too much for them to risk. They are really gaining control of this game, and they don't want to throw it away with a Baron, possible 50-50 smite anyways. Darshan does find, that last vital proc, and Aphromoo coming around through the jungle, but this is TSM's jungle. Doublelift collapses, Svenskeren collapses, and Hauntzer gets headbutted over to the blast cone, which he then uses to escape, only to come back at a later date, lock in Darshan, and allow Doublelift to flash over the wall, close this kill down.
And again, we talk about that Jinx kind of needing a few kills to snowball. Doublelift has 4 of them. That can participate in 8 of TSM's 9 kills so far, and is building very quickly in towards item number 3.
Plus, since it was a locket rush from Svenskeren, he also has that added defense and a huge front line to work around. Jinx is amazing in the big 5-on-5 fight. Darshan though trying to 1v1.
Looking for a 1v2 on the other side of the map. Darshan should be able to get a Huhi. Weaves in for the shutdown as TSM going to counter with mid lane.
Going to be able to take that turret in answer. The duo pushing for bottom of CLG is going to get right up to the secondary turrets. And CLG have plenty of wards on Baron, so they feel fine doing this. Even though Bjergsen has his teleport as well on the Corki, you have to continually remember that and try and track that cooldown as far as him getting back out onto the field for those cross-map plays if TSM wanted, to try and pressure that Baron and dissuade CLG from continuing that pressure on bottom turret.
CLG with the smart stuff, though. Are going to back away as we watch this again. Strong side of the map for CLG.
Going to take the fight here with Darshan, who hides in the brush, heals up off his own ultimate. And that's one of the things with Taliyah, why we keep saying that CLG want to, pull TSM apart, split up the map. That's how you take advantage of pulling them apart.
Certainly do. It's TSM looking at still assault. I think probably bot tower turret. Do have 3 turrets to 2 right now after trading mid for Bjergsen's life, so not the worst. CLG still looking for that top outer, which could be a problem come at Baron time. Speed try and up though for CLG, so they'll have vision, but TSM going to clear out the rest of those wards. And take hold of the vision in that area for now. And TSM be very successful with picks this game, so gonna hide in that brush and kind of dare CLG to face check the Baron River blind, which is usually not a good idea.
Yeah, I don't want to take the dare. Doublelift would be the one to go after though, if he's showing out in the middle. aphromoo does have flash on Alistar.
Again, CLG don't need to face check just yet. Speed try and still up for about 10 more seconds. Wave pushing bot though, so TSM have set this up nicely. CLG just kind of hoping TSM waddle out too early. And Doublelift, he's the bait right now.
Yeah, so is Huhi. Both teams setting up in the side brush. I don't think anybody's fooled at this point.
No.
They've played a lot of games. They're all centering around mid lane. This one ward here, in a little banana brush,
is dead.
Oh no, it's gone. That was CLG's last informant.
And looks like they're out of vision for now. I don't know how many sights and shutters Aphro has, but TSM out of the Baron. They'll use the blue trinket to see it, but they're committing.
Yeah, Darshan is trying to split push, but there's no time left.
Hauntzer didn't get out of the pit, but the Glacial Fisher's going to disengage. Spin dives into the backside and then flashes out as the Maokai ulti streams in, but Huhi managed to get the kill as Darshan TP's into the fight to try and make sure he's there for the end of it. Doublelift outputting a lot of damage here. TSM, they lose one, but still fighting well. 5v4. Hauntzer looking for another pick, pops the righteous glory, but CLG need to keep their carry safe.
Darshan trying to zone now so that they have time to push on the mid turret. CLG gonna press up middle and get some gold for themselves. Actually,
maybe a catch. Darshan committed, but is it a little too far? Riposte uses some of that damage as Hauntzer is looking to go down. Huhi able to snag a kill. And now another one here onto Bio, maybe. He's gonna flash towards Doublelift as Bjergsen runs towards the outer, but I don't think he's safe right now. He's going to TP out of the way. Darshan can't cancel it. Bjergsen, he's going to live.
Yeah, I think Huhi's timer on the seismic shove was down, so he could not interrupt that teleport. Otherwise, I believe he would have dove with Darshan. But that ability being on cooldown means CLG won't pick up the extra kill. They won't also, because they went for the extra chase there, get a turret afterwards. So they are unable to get the extra gold in. TSM right back out to Baron.
Darshan stuck around though, so he can check this. Yeah, we'll do so. But TSM like, yeah, I don't think we care. Darshan can't do anything 1v3. Doublelift actually going to chase him off because Darshan didn't go home. That's Bjergsen TPing, sorry, Hauntzer TPing in. And that Baron go over. TSM's persistence pays off. And they'll get the Baron.
Ooh, what a pickup here. Let's see if this is going to be the one to topple an inhibitor turret, because TSM, they can easily slot down, grab the Cloud Drake, and then group up with their front line that is capable of diving turrets.
So Fiora going back. No, actually stay with the team, excuse me. Gonna make sure they take the Cloud Drake quickly as well. Jungler not here for a little while longer. Sven with the smite, so should be an easy take. And Drake number 3 over to TSM. Now it's time to spend that money.
It's so difficult as a split push team to try and keep a Baroned up, 5v5 comp split up when they have Baron. Like it's just so ridiculously difficult due to the lack of control you have over minion waves when the other team has the Baron. They just speed them up and head straight down mid lane. Plus, as we said, they can threaten the dive if you're keeping your split pusher, in the side lane. Darshan does not have teleport. There's no way that you answer. It's very, very few options now for Counter Logic Gaming, to try and pull off the turnaround. Even though the gold lead isn't that big,
no.
Baron buff in the comp means TSM are coming for some turret gold.
They're only 1,000 gold up now, but that should change pretty rapidly. TSM can make good use of the Baron buff. CLG grouped up to try and get a pick or two. But Bjergsen back in that mid lane. He's going to be pushing that.
Arrow.
Hits Biofrost. Should be able to get out of the way. Nice wall from Huhi actually, so CLG still going for the fight. Bjergsen staying in mid lane, so Omar gets a push back. He finds Doublelift, who instantly dies to Huhi. That's not going to be enough as Stixxay able to clean up a few more. That should be 3 as Sven goes down as well.
Are you kidding me? They force it, and TSM keep Bjergsen in the mid lane. He does get a turret, but CLG got some much needed kills. 3 of them for themselves, and they're able to force it. Ashe arrow from Stixxay. The Taliyah wall actually locks them in, and OmarGod lands the Gragas ultimate. That is key. They got Doublelift. That's where the team fight breaks.
Been on point with the Gragas ultimates this game. It's kind of the reason he's been playing the champion so much since joining the LCS. TSM going to lose a turret here as well. Bjergsen did get one, but it's only one turret that he grabs.
I was focused on Darshan's teleport cooldown, but if TSM, even with the Baron buff, keep Bjergsen up in mid lane split pushing and he didn't have his teleport to join, even though TSM bought time, Bjergsen did not come down. They made the call for him to keep split pushing. I think maybe after the Ashe arrow hit, they thought they could still kite, but the Taliyah wall catches them off guard, and then a really good engage from OmarGod. Taliyah wall kind of locks him up. He waits for the Braum ultimate to go down. Remember, that is key, as we were saying in Champ Select. Right after Biofrost Unbreakable drops, OmarGod pops the ultimate. He gets the priority target, and they get the team fight victory.
Ooh,
that being said,
TSM back on the map, gonna take the outer turret. That was an easy one though, so a couple kills there for CLG is nice. Get some gold, drop Baron off 3 members of TSM, but now TSM is gonna stay grouped and try and keep doing that damage. Gold lead still stabilizing here though. TSM gonna need a lot more hard work to get a big Baron off power play here.
yeah, definitely makes the game more interesting here. CLG with a pretty good defense. Much needed little victory in that bottom lane skirmish.
Bjergsen though did complete his Infinity Edge and the money he got off that turret. The other reason maybe they didn't want to fight. So ready to go as far as damage goes. Doublelift even with a last whisper on top of his 3 damage items. So the big marksman already here for TSM, but looks like backing off that push on the tier 2 for now and gonna reset the map because top and mid are pushing against them.
Yeah, they really have to worry about the summoner spell discrepancy between the AD carries there. Stixxay on Ashe, available ultimate as well as his own flash. So not only could he try and again hit one of those backline members with the Ashe arrow, but he himself can flash the engage from TSM. And the AD carry sticking up in these types of situations is what means the difference.
Looks like Bjerg gonna join top lane. Actually does have his teleport now, so not the worst split pusher. Can at least get the wave shoving nice and quickly.
Now he's got teleport, as you said. That is definitely key. That or the package. You can get basically half a lane.
And caught by Huhi here. Sven's like, yep, I'm out of there. Good damage though. Baron not up for a number of minutes, but CLG gonna pressure this top lane. Still have a turret to take. If they can find the time to do so. Bjergsen though, respecting that, is also gonna back away. TSM still defending. Looks like Baron's dropped off, so only that one turret. You saw under 1,000 gold for that Baron bow play. Really not the damage TSM wanted to get done, and as a result, game still sits with TSM up, but it's only by 1,000 gold.
Definitely all about who can get to that back line. So TSM, their goal at the moment, wait for Doublelift's, flash to get back off cooldown so they can actually pull off the 5-on-5. We talked about the potency of Jinx's resets late in the game. She has a rune on turret game and just ridiculous damage output if left unattended. But Stixxay, Omar, aphromoo, they're all aiming for Doublelift.
Darshan also someone we have to keep track of here because he's getting towards those 3 item points for Fiora. Has the 2 major ones already in Cleaver and Hydra. But lifesteal item number 2 and item number 3 should mean that this matchup becomes significantly more lopsided despite how tanky Hauntzer is currently on the Maokai. You can see Darshan is able to push up much further and really pressure Hauntzer. Sure, Hauntzer's probably not going to die, but he can't really contest Fiora anymore, so CLG have that avenue of attack as well.
Hey, you gotta wonder when that point comes that Fiora starts diving turrets. Even with the Bramble Vest, she still heals a tremendous amount under the turrets and then can just back off from the Maokai and heal off the minions instead. The Bramble Vest, the debuff does not last very long. It's only 1 second after you auto attack him.
Ooh, Bjerg. Actually wanted his blue buff.
I heard somebody was on my blue.
All right, gonna commit the TP there for that one. That's a true mid laner right there, committed to the blue buff. It's a lifelong commitment, Kobe.
I've seen it firsthand.
And looks like Cloud Drake also had things. So TSM going to use their global for a 1-2 punch on objectives. One little one, one big one. As CLG prompting a team fight potentially here. Sapling's going to make this a little troublesome as Aphro takes a big chunk of damage. Everybody over! Glacial Fissure in the choke point is nice, but TSM still need to get the damage on the carries. Tank starting to take a little too much as Darshan zips out of the way. Maokai ultimate chasing. Only going to tag Omar. Aphro is going to escape, but Omar actually is going to be the target. Wall, though, separates Svenskeren from the rest of his team, but CLG use it to disengage.
Yeah, TSM are not running anymore. Doublelift Splash is up, so they are willing and ready to take these team fights. Very close engagement there. Biofrost uses his ultimate, Hauntzer uses his as well.
Ooh, Darshan has to be careful, but he'll be okay. TSM back towards the Baron here. It's back up, so they're going to try and force.
They need to give these minions over to Darshan to heal up. They need him at 100% for the team fight, and it only takes a couple. TSM burning it down, yeah, 4,000.
No wall here. They're actually going to peel back off. That's a kill maybe onto Omar. They can get the jungler. It's great for Double. Bjergsen actually progressed on by aphromoo. Is he still going to live? Huhi actually kills Hauntzer as Sven. He's going to die through Stone Plate as well. Huhi able to grab a double, but it's 3v4. The carries of TSM still alive. Omar a little too low. Doublelift out of mana though, taking so much damage as Corki barely able to kill another. 2 for 2. Through the mess, all the tanks down.
Oh my goodness, Doublelift was so close to getting that last reset. Stixxay now playing a dangerous game, but Huhi's got his back and they chase TSM off.
Everybody just gonna hold on to
Everybody calm down.
Exactly. Hold on to their nerves for a little while longer, reset the waves, and you can kind of see just how close these team fights are getting.
Guardian Angel now picked up for Darshan. You thought he was close to dying in the last team fight. Now he actually is going to have the opportunity for 2 lives. And it really does kind of change the way that Fiora can play the game when you get this item. Considering he did not want to be dragged into these fights before and had to kind of skirt around the outside and wait for his opening. Now he's supported much more. Nice wall here to cut off the rest of the team, but Double is still in range to add some damage.
Yeah, Bio can go over as well, but the rest of the team over. TSM very aggressive onto the Baron. Bjergsen,
Ashe arrow's ready.
Gonna blast cone over. CLG have to be careful here. TSM committed to the Baron. Aphro dives in, but he gets stunned. Damage still there, but he's got his ult taken away. The Baron's still doing damage to TSM as Hauntzer actually found a huge flank in the backline, tying everybody up. Bjergsen over the wall trying to take down Huhi. Doesn't get it. Stixxay flashes and kills Bjergsen. CLG might have salvaged the Baron fight. Huhi gets a double kill as he kills Hauntzer. Doublelift is still alive with the arrow. Just hits Svenskeren. Doublelift, I don't think he's got enough damage to try and get it done. A triple knockoff from Sven with the ultimate ticket, but Doublelift, he's gonna go down as well. CLG grab the ace.
Oh my God, CLG are able to pull it off. Aphro just kind of tied the Baron. They're managing the aggro here, still a little bit hyped up after that clean ace inside the Baron buff. TSM group themselves up and get annihilated inside. We're gonna have to go back to the replay because I was watching the left-hand side of the fight when I see Stixxay flashing onto Bjergsen, who had flashed onto Huhi, and they're just trying to flash on the enemy carries here. Ridiculous little chain of events. Let's take a look at the right half of this team fight. Bjergsen into the team fight. They have the Unbreakable up here, so once that goes down, CLG are able to re-engage. And yes, Maokai ultimate comes out, but Biofrost is already so low. Bjergsen bounced onto Huhi. He has to flash away as Stixxay flashes on his face, kills him off, and they're able to refocus after Darshan's Guardian Angel buys them the time. What an insane item, really changing how a team fight can flow. That Darshan able to get back up, and CLG, that means they take this ace and this Baron without losing a member.
And 38 minutes in, they'll finally take that pesky top outer turret and retake the gold lead, but TSM are forcing some counter pressure here in mid lane. Those are some ridiculous damage numbers as well. You can see just how long it takes to get through these frontliners. The Baron's still up for 2 minutes and 45 there for CLG. It's their turn to play with initiative.
All right, let's see if they're gonna be able to force this one through. TSM are still in a defensible position. They can wait around their inhibitor turrets. The outer ones are gonna be very difficult and should be seeded. Yeah, one hit. But the inhibitors are actually defensible for them. You know, Jinx is very annoying to try and push on. The flame choppers go down. They cover almost half of the entrance. And it's very risky for CLG to take a dive.
Trying to manage his waves as well. Darshan's got a huge wave manicured in that bot lane, looking to siege down that turret. Got a red potion as well, so actually getting nice and aggressive in this next potential engage.
He did promise an exciting game. He did promise, you know, it coming down to one of these big team fights.
Of course, we played that before Game 2 and not Game 1. We knew.
Darshan, man true to his word. This time around, though, that Guardian Angel still on cooldown for a significant time. CLG going to continue to collect all the gold in the outer turrets.
Well, everyone's pretty much built up here, so CLG again just playing up with their Baron buff. Gold lead's starting to grow, but it might not matter as a wall from Huhi. I mean, this siege on top in his turret should be pretty free. TSM poking over Huhi, it's an auto attack from Bjergsen as Darshan and ignoring Hauntzer at this point. But Hauntzer commits the ultimate, it's going to try and chase him down. Bjergsen's here, that's why Darshan's going to get blown up here, but the turret in top lane does die. CLG need to keep playing up and aggressive, but they got the turret, can't get the inhibitor.
Good call there from TSM. You know, Darshan, without the Guardian Angel, can't buy time for CLG to answer with an inhibitor. So TSM, even though they lost a bunch of turrets and the gold is going to help CLG push towards these late game team fights, they don't lose a member, and they do have priority on this Elder Dragon. CLG are coming out in force, though. 7,000 health, burning it down very quickly. Hot shot goes off.
They've already pulled it out. Not that they can get in time. No, they can't. Smite from Sven secures it. TSM take the other big objective off the map. And Bjergsen gets blue buff.
Definitely a big... We know how much they value that one. What a counter, though. All right, now, with the Elder Dragon burn on the team that had 4 Elemental Drakes, TSM's team fight is no joke right now. They see any member of CLG, they are going for an engage. 100%. Giant true damage burn. Huge front line.
They're so fast with triple Cloud Drake plus Elder. I was like, why are they streaming down mid lane at such a high speed? My goodness. Which is pretty scary when you have the likes of Hauntzer and Sven running at you.
Did Darshan's Guardian Angel just come up before he got killed and then it went back on cooldown? That's what it looks like, unless that's a...
I think that's usually a spectator.
Unless that's a spectator bug. Yeah.
Maybe double check that. I think visually doesn't look like he has it right now, just on his model, but we'll have to see. TSM, though, again playing aggressive with that Elder Dragon buff. Just trying to find that engage, but top lane not there, not where they want it to be.
Look at the setup here. CLG looking for the flank. aphromoo is up in the wings right now on the Alistar. He's been seen, though, so it won't be a surprise.
Wall angle here from Huhi is pretty good. Does try and cut them all up, and Sven actually caught under the turret. OmarGod pushes them out of the way, but a huge bolt from Afro finds all 5! TSM, though, still fighting.
Uh-oh, nobody was in range to deal damage during aphromoos 5-man combo. What a flash from Svenskeren. That barely saves his life. If he does not get that one off in time, OmarGod's ultimate gets him under the turret. In this case, though, it disengages them and just lets them wait for the next minion wave. Now CLG are working without ultimates. Only Darshan has his.
And TSM are hard committing to this siege. Maokai ultimate out. They can't protect top if this goes wrong. Turret is going to fall down. TSM need a few more shots. Backdoor bonus actually hurting them so much, but it finally falls and TSM get out. Have to go back for that top
Look at those
wave.
CLG minions, though. They're going to take the inhibitor if TSM can't do anything about it, and it looks like they won't be able to. CLG keeping them around.
TSM going for the fight instead. OmarGod, he's the target. Gonna get Stun, move back into the team. Stoneplate maybe not be flat. Body slams out of the way. Ultimate. Oh, that's an execute. Doublelift. Gonna force up 5v4, but that inhibit top is going to go down.
Oh, Doublelift does find the snipe in the end to secure the kill, but CLG get an inhibitor back for themselves with the minions.
Very aggressive from TSM. They thought they could find maybe one more pick to end the game. It is not to be. Bjergsen cleans up those minions, but now Super is going to be streaming into that top half, and Baron's back in 50 seconds.
Oh, baby. 79,000, 76,000. It doesn't mean a tremendous amount at this point. People are trying to find ward spots in their inventory, finishing up their last items. It's all about the crowd control landing on those priority targets. Doublelift, he does have his flash. Stixxay does as well. How well will they be able to use them, though? Front lines have been intense this game.
Darshan, gonna keep track of him. Does have Death Dance now finished, so he is real tough to pick out of one of these side lanes, especially for Hauntzer. At this point, has to stay full-time group with the team to try something here as TSM once again Gonna maybe try to go straight onto Baron.
CLG need to keep up the pressure. All this time is working in TSM's favor. They want Baron to come up so they can get a 5-on-5. CLG are the ones that have the inhibitor down and the exposed inhibitor. aphromoo goes in, he's super low.
Another good wall. TSM still fighting. Hauntzer tanking it. Svenskeren's waiting to try and get the smite down. Oh my god, Afro! What happened? Bjergsen just takes him down instantly. And that's Baron over to TSM. So much damage from that Corki.
aphromoo gets roasted, walking across the hot coals, and TSM are able to take the Baron. Now will they be able to push? We may need that replay. Did he just walk back on?
Have it time to ultimate. He died so fast to the fully stacked Corki. Hauntzer gonna go back, maybe TP in for this one. Or get the mid lane pushing because, yep, Darshan is applying pressure. Yeah, what happened here?
So he goes on Bjergsen initially. It's a big chunk, and aphromoo gets bumped off it, but then he walks back on.
Oh no. That is so much damage from the package burn. Afro underestimating that, and now Bjergsen is back to his old tricks. Hauntzer gonna TP in, TSM still gonna deliver that killing blow. Turret's gonna fall here in topside. CLG have maybe one last fight.
All right, super minions are helping them out though. The minions do not want them to lose. Trying to pick up the slack. Doublelift is very low, but he's gonna leech up off the minions. And here comes TSM. They continue looking for this little angle around the corner, but not gonna catch anybody off guard. Inhibitor gonna go down though.
This one's dead. Still have one to defend in mid lane. TSM gonna rotate around.
Guardian Angel picked up for Bjergsen as well. Gonna be 6-on-6.
Team fights have been so close. But Bjergsen is playing up and aggressive with the Corki. Knows how strong he is, even versus the tanks.
If TSM can win this, they claim first place in the summer split of the North American LCS.
CLG just looking to try and play a third game. This mid inhib is gonna fall by the looks of things. CLG gonna find their spot, but Maokai gonna keep them zoned out of the way. Inhibitor's gonna fall down. Last few shots from Bjergsen, enough to take it, and they go straight back for that bottom wave.
The tension rising. Darshan going for the chase. Svenskeren is fairly low.
Isolated here. He's got his flash. Huhi looking to try and chase him down. Bjergsen gonna look to fight. Afro finds him with a flash pulse. That's gonna be a kill. GA. Pop down. Does he die? I don't think he can get out. No, he can't. Darshan claims the kill.
All right, now it's 2 inhibitors to 1. 61 seconds left on Bjergsen's death timer, and TSM are gonna have to clean their base at the moment. What? We're getting another team fight base stream.
Yep.
Another one of the big team fights Darshan promised is going to come down to that. And critically, the Guardian Angel, because it was procced right there, Bjergsen sells it off for another DPS item, so it's not as big of a deal. But we may see, again, Darshan diving into the center of TSM and using that revive timer as enough time for CLG to actually turn it. What a ridiculous set of circumstances here. Super minions fighting on the top side of the map. Darshan inside the base.
15 seconds till Bjergsen. Darshan, good riposte. Still gets stunned on the other end, but buffers a lunge through that to get back to the safety of his teammates.
Again, he can heal up off the minions. Elder Dragon's coming up next, but it's in quite a long time.
There's going to be some uneven inhib timers as well. Top inhib's about to respawn for TSM, and CLG's 2 just got taken as Bjergsen is back out on the map. No real objectives to take just yet. I mean, Baron is actually technically still on TSM for 30 more seconds, so no obvious points of teamfight around, but TSM got their inhib back. See if they can maybe look to just shove down that final part of bottom lane.
All right, setting up for the team fight. Vision is going to be key. aphromoo trying to lay the groundwork on the top half of the map currently, but TSM are heading towards the bottom, so they're not even playing into CLG's vision, just going straight through the lane here, the last inhibitor that stands for CLG. They still have to buy some more time for their top and mid to respawn. TSM have that window.
TSM are pretty all in as well for this little next team fight. Gonna try and move through the jungle and not get caught. Nice blue trinket ward's actually keeping them pretty good on the vision front, but you cannot be too careless. Arrow hits actually gets Bjergsen, but he buffered package through it. Sven, who's back in, he's not that tanky, he pops the stone plate, now EQ's out of the way.
Oh no,
Darshan gonna turn back around, he flash lunges out.
That Corki package is really baiting in some CLG members. Darshan has to burn his flash now. See if that becomes a big deal in the next fight.
So, Doublelift is shoeless as well. Sold his boots for a GA, so maximum damage on this potential final push for TSM. But this has been quite a game so far, almost 50 minutes in.
All comes down to this. Will we get a game 3, or will we crown the North American Summer Split champion?
All right, TSM gonna wait out the wall. Huhi poking. Sven is eating so much damage from this max build Taliyah. TSM just need a little bit more super waves in top lane, gonna get there first. You can see big threatening triple super minion wave.
Not much time for CLG.
Gonna have to go very soon. Phases starts.
They don't have the Ashe arrow up though. They want to buy one more wave to hopefully get that one for the next engage.
Darshan went over. Doublelift actually got tagged by Huhi, but this turret is going to get aggressed on. They're going to tank it up. Biofrost is just holding S, tanking up shots as TSM.
Darshan versus the Horde.
He's killed the first one. This one's going to take even longer. 4 super moves in that one, and TSM say fine, we'll take the turret. aphromoo does get some lockdown onto Hauntzer. Huhi again keeping them out. TSM still don't have this turret.
The defense is holding for Counter Logic Gaming. Darshan taking care of 4, 5 super minions. He gets one of them down, and CLG repel the TSM onslaught.
All right.
Now it will be another Elder Dragon though, and they're gonna come back with the burn.
Yep, inhibs are respawning for CLG though, so everything's kind of coming together to again just force them for one final team fight. CLG gonna keep their base up-ish. Gonna have to clear out these last few things, but inhib 1's back up, inhib 2 in the mid will follow shortly, and TSM say, we're real sick of this game. Bjergsen gonna go back home, TP back into what should be their final push.
Yeah, it's up, it's standing, but there are a lot of openings. A lot of holes here in the CLG base. Here we go, though. aphromoo is again up on the top side, looking to flank.
That is an unpackaged Corki, by the way. Bjergsen is so fast coming out of HomeGuard with triple clouds plus the Elder Dragon buff. Last turret gonna fall. Bjergsen one shot.
That's in.
Aphro, they're finding it. 3-man pull, but Bjergsen, but double still firing back. Big CC in the front side, and they're just melting. OmarGod almost gonna go down, but the rest of TSM holding strong. Omar barely lives. Sven barely lives as well. Aphro back in double pulse. Hauntzer now taking the rest of the front side of the team fight. Darshan dips back in, kills Hauntzer. CLG, no! Everybody dies! Too much damage! CLG overextend and 3 of their carries die. Darshan's gonna go down as well. That's 4 dead. And TSM should be able to win the game.
It's the rookie versus the veteran. Doublelift left the team. Omar joined. What is he gonna do?
Has to maybe kill Sven, but Doublelift gonna take an in here.
Well, he would want to cut the wave and deny minions, because Doublelift, there's nothing he can do versus Doublelift 1v1. Sven ushering the minions in. Doublelift goes back to protect them.
Doublelift is so slow as well. Remember, Omar, though, just gonna keep fighting. Knock back off. Omar just buying time, I think. TSM gonna try and lock him down. Omar, big lot of help, but not enough. Doublelift completes the ace. He has 25 seconds to end the game.
That is gonna do it, folks. TSM will take the series 2-0.
A dominating game 1, a very roller coaster ride in game number 2. 53 minutes almost, but TSM will reclaim the throne, #1 once again in North America. And I'm glad we don't get to call Darshan a liar. That was quite the tense game number 2.
What did he say? Comes down to that big 5v5 late game team fight. 51 minutes into the game it started. Doublelift on Jinx survives. He gets out the DPS. 6 DPS items for himself on Jinx. The reset carry. TSM able to clutch it.
I mean, Biofrost did 10,000 damage to champions that game on Braum. To give you an idea of just how long that game was and how many team fights there were. Bifrost, big smile on his face at the end of the game. TSM will finish in first once again. CLG, like we said, were locked for their playoff spot, but it would have been real nice to extend that rivalry just 1 game longer.
Whew. Definitely was intense. You know, congratulations to TSM ending the split on the top. And now we get to move towards playoffs.
And I think
that was just a taste.
Exactly. I mean, that was a very good taste if these teams meet in playoffs again. incredibly close second game. I mean, we can kind of write off game number 1. TSM did their thing, snowballed effectively, and CLG didn't really look in that game. But that second game, I think, is what a lot of the close games between these two teams will look like once we hit the postseason, which is not very far away.
Definitely not. Right around the corner. This is going to be the end for us, at least, for the summer split regular season here.
I'll take it.
Stream is still going.
I'll take it as a way to end my summer here in 2017. It's been quite a fun one. I think CLG, we know that Omar really doesn't have very much time to adapt, but especially on Gragas in that game, he looked excellent.
He came up with big plays. This is a high-intensity match. These are the types of things that they want him to grow into. So it definitely does bode well for him there. He is on the right path, or seems to be on the right path. But like you said, there is no more time for CLG, trying to improve here. They are going to have to adapt to new patches as well as they move forward to playoffs and then possibly Worlds. That's always a huge ordeal, especially for rookies, getting up on that stage.
And I think for TSM, despite ending on top here in the season, I don't know if it necessarily feels like the same dominance a year ago. In summer at this time, they were smashing everyone. They've really earned the #1 spot this season, but once again, they'll move into that postseason as the team to beat.
Yeah, definitely true. They've had multiple teams clawing at them, fighting them tooth and nail to try and take that away. Immortals, Dignitas, hot on their trail. And definitely excited to see how it turns out.
Well, we're going to get a first-hand account on that series, so let's hear from Riv and TSM's man in the mid lane.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am joined by TSM's Bjergsen after their victory over Counterlogic Gaming. Bjergsen, it's been quite a long time with the team. January of 2014, when you joined. What does the rivalry mean to you, having built it over this many years and now being able to come out on top?
I mean, playing against CLG is always a hype matchup, especially that we acquired Doublelift from them, just made the rivalry even stronger. And I think it means that, especially to Doublelift, the matches mean a lot. So I try to, I mean, personally, I don't feel as much of a rivalry towards CLG specifically, but I want to do the best for Doublelift so he can feel happy that he joined our team.
There you go. And looking at your goals that TSM came in with this season, obviously reaching quite high ones towards the end, were you able to reach all of them that you guys kind of had in mind?
I don't think we were as dominant as we would have liked, but I don't know. Are we first place? We're first or second place. I'm not sure, but obviously in terms of standings, I think we are doing well, but we weren't as dominant as we were in the summer split of last year, which is kind of where my expectations lie. So I think there's still much to do for us.
All right, that kind of answers my second question, because I was going to ask you, do you kind of feel this is the strongest version of TSM you're still working with here?
In terms of players, I think, yeah, but in terms of our current form, I think we're kind of inconsistent. We have games where we look so strong and we smash teams, like the first game against CLG. Then we have these second games where there's just a lot of individual mistakes, even macro mistakes, and I think it just comes down to like the consistency. When we play at our best, I feel like we are the best team in NA, but on those off games, it doesn't feel like that as much.
All right, final question for you. Obviously, MVP votes are coming up. I know you don't like to say if you're the best or not, but besides voting for yourself, who actually has impressed you in the North American LCS throughout the summer split, Bjergsen?
I think the players that immediately come to mind are Jensen and Ole. I think those two players they're really important to their teams. The way they perform, their team really relies on them to do well, and they also consistently do well for their team. So I think those are the two players I would personally vote for, is Jensen and Ole.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the information. Everybody always loves to hear what's inside the players' minds. Bjergsen with the victory over Counterlogic Gaming, and best of luck to the team in the playoffs. We're going to throw it to the analyst desk to break down the rest of that game.
Thank you very much, Riv. 2-0 victory for TSM, but that second game is why you watch TSM versus CLG.
Super, super hype, back and forth team fights. It felt like at any moment this game breaks open one way or the other.
Right, so before we try and analyze how the heck we got to where we got, let's go ahead and take a look at that final fight, the one that closed it all out, 51 minutes into the game. Slugfest, really. I mean, this is just pushing themselves to the limits here. CLG making a last-ditch effort to engage on the Elder Dragon TSM.
And as much as you want to tip your cap to aphromoo for finding these kind of monster engages a couple times, he doesn't have a great team comp to follow up on it. Ashe, not so much of an AoE team fighter. Same with Taliyah.
She's also not sprinting forward.
Right, they're not the champions to really do that. Taliyah can get a multi-man knockback, but it's not quite enough. Here, Doublelift goes a little bit unfocused during that situation as everyone chased forward to get the multiple frontline members down low. Doublelift is just hugging that bottom wall, not targeted down by the CLG team. He's able to get a monster AoE team fight off finally and win the game, but
This is, like you heard Bjergsen say, a game with a lot of individual mistakes.
All right, so now let's roll it all the way back to the beginning and try and figure out why the game went as chaotic as it did. Starting in Champion Select, I know we talked about when seeing this, you brought up the mini metas of best of series, and that becomes incredibly important as we move to best of five as a playoff. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to kind of remind everybody what that mini meta, interaction can be like in these kinds of series.
It's one of those situations where you see Taliyah first picked with Maokai up, and if you're looking at any other series that's been played this weekend or anything like that, you're going to say, what is CLG doing? But you look at game one and what happened, where Bjergsen blasted Huhi in lane, and you realize that, one, it's hard to ban that out right away and just say, all right, we don't want Bjergsen to play that, as well as the fact that it's a good champion for you. So they target the Syndra, and they don't even give Bjergsen a chance to take it, because they're anticipating that TSM realizes the importance of that pick as well.
Right.
So they take it right away, and then that kind of sets them up for the team comps that they can shift into here, because in the second pick phase for CLG, we're talking about, oh, this is an easy Gnar Gragas pick for them.
Right.
But they go Alistar Gragas, which to us seemed a little weird, because, we understand the Gragas for Omar is his best champion, but why wouldn't you take the Gnar? It's a split push champion.
You saw the Maokai. That's going to be a fine matchup. Even the Jarvan, you'd be fine playing Gnar into Jarvan.
Right, but CLG knows that at this point in time that they have the option here to take the Camille and the Fiora, because there's only 2 bans left.
Right.
So CLG can ban out the Gnar and ban out something else, but then you get one of these 3 champions no matter what. So they're not going to prioritize that. They're going to get Afro's Alistar and know that they will get a split pusher for Darshan.
So admittedly, when we saw CLG's Champion Select, when we got to that second rotation of picks, the Gragas and the Alistar, we both went, they screwed up.
Yep.
They screwed up. They're going to lose the game because of Champion Select. Then we will admit that the more we thought about it, the more we realized where this entire process was coming from, that we began to love this CLG draft, because they predicted, right, the matchups that were possible for that top laner, end up getting the Fiora because of the inability to ban all 3 of the champions that Darshan would like to have picked up. Anyway, that's how we end up with what we did. Once again, though, these games come down to the way that these two teams play. When you're operating at a high level, a lot of times it's not so much reliant on the team comps themselves. We're going to hop into some replays 17 minutes into the game. Top lane siege from TSM. The botched engage from CLG spells disaster for them, because they had all the tools to win this game.
Yeah, like we said, this is a game with a lot of individual mistakes. Here we see Biofrost being too far forward and going down in a 4v5 situation as CLG struggles to hold on to this turret and let Darshan split push down the bot lane. And this is actually going really well for CLG, and then they get frustrated on TSM side, want to walk up to finish the turret. CLG re-engages again, and then this Ashe arrow swings just wide and misses a stun. So they're not actually able to continue to chase down for kills. Then Huhi wraps around the flank, wants to get onto Bjergsen and cut him off. Jumps off a little bit too early, also because he's scared to jump into 3 people, and then he cuts himself off, ends up not being able to get involved in that fight afterwards. And it's a situation where TSM messed up initially, and then CLG was not able to punish as hard as they would have liked to.
And let's remember, the game started with a red buff invade from CLG that netted them 2 kills for 1 to kind of start building those advantages. As you mentioned, up until the Ashe arrow missed there in that top lane fight, that was won by CLG. That was going to be even more gold in their pockets because of the blunder there and the continued chase down the lane. TSM stabs back, kind of evens it up, and we saw a whole heck of a lot of trading in terms of advantage from that point onward. I want to push this again ahead to 37 minutes into the game. CLG fight at the Baron 5-0.
And this is a great play by Huhi. He walls off the damage from getting into Baron, slows down how long it's going to take them to take it, and allows his team to get in range here. And then aphromoo is going to go in, just try and run some disruption. And this is where TSM's individual mistakes, there's 2 really critical ones. First, Bjergsen's going to hop this wall and try and get onto the stunned Huhi, who's going to be able to flash away, and Stixxay instantly identifies him as a target, goes onto him, souls him out. Here, though, the fight is still winnable because you have the hyper carry Jinx. And what ends up happening is CLG end up super clumped up in double up. Instead of staying in rocket form and auto-attacking, he starts casting his ultimate here, and he drops a ton of DPS, as well as getting way too close to even use his ultimate. So a complete flub of Jinx, probably out of practice on this champion, honestly, and there was a ton of AD carry bans this game. So you can just see that gold grass spells it out for you. This was an insane game.
Well, it's an insane game, and here's the thing, though. I think when a lot of other teams play, we see a gold graph like that, and we immediately call them out for unclean, terrible play, throws left and right, and we have to be fair to every other team in the league and say that both CLG and TSM here showed a fair amount of individual mistakes. Bjergsen called it out specifically in this second game. There were blunders. So even these top-tier teams aren't, free from criticism when it comes to the play. However, it was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this game, there's like never a dull moment in this game. It's TSM setting up around Baron, CLG contest, TSM mess up the Baron, CLG don't get it, and it's just constant plays like that.
And so here, this is where I'll return to a point we were making earlier when we were talking about Dignitas and whether or not we're ready to consider them a top-tier team, because sometimes, even though they win in kind of a slow bleed manner where they don't seem necessarily super proactive. In this case, every single play made was a proactive play, forcing a reaction out of the other team, which is where you see mistakes made because you don't have the time necessarily to set up perfectly for anything. And it's all about, as was said in the opening teaser, a game of inches.
I think that's the big thing, just because you look at, like you said, that red buff invade that got the double kill starting out, the Fiora starting to get strong. And if you play slow against CLG and you say, okay, well, your Fiora is, going to snowball and end the game, whatever, we'll play
then
slow.
You do lose.
Yeah, then you do lose. But TSM keeps the tempo up. They're doing lane swaps. They're trying to use their Jinx to take turrets.
Right.
CLG doesn't play slow either. They go and attack that push and slow it down from being able to get a turret advantage, because otherwise TSM wins that trade.
Right, at the end of the day, player of the game is going to go to Doublelift, although he did have a few individual mistakes. The late game team fight, the damage coming out of the Jinx ensures the victory for the squad. Hypercarry Jinx versus an Ashe, you're going to win in the DPS late game.
Yeah, and this is one of those games where you're wondering, like, oh man, great damage numbers. It's like, there's 3 tanks on both teams, and it's a 51-minute game with like 20 team fights. Of course your damage numbers are great.
Yeah,
It's one of those ones you got to temper your expectations a little bit. But Doublelift in particular was the main focus. Bjergsen in particular had a really off game, made a couple crucial mistakes, got caught out in side lanes and things like that. And it was really Doublelift in these team fights that carried the game.
So TSM, after all this, they make it back to the top of the standings. The more things change, the more they stay the same. TSM at 14-4, right alongside Immortals, do have the tiebreak, so they will get that first seed, whereas Immortals get the second seed, both getting playoff buys. CLG tied in the standings with Cloud9 now from a match win perspective, but secure third out of a tiebreaker as well. So they're going to, of course, be playing against Envy in their first quarter final. Let's talk about that real briefly.
I think that's a situation where, as CLG, you're not happy about losing, especially it was a 2-0, not super clean games.
Right.
But you are going up against Envy, a team that, at least as far as we can tell in the second half of the season, is clearly the weakest playoff team. So at least you have a little bit, not necessarily of a warm-up, but a great kind of momentum builder where hopefully you can go out, smash those guys, and roll into that matchup against probably Immortals later on.
Exactly. And TSM, they'll get that one extra week to practice, look ahead at their opponents, and decide what they want to do on patch 7.16, as that's what the playoffs will be played on. For now, though, as we close the books on NALCS 1, we're going to toss you over to NALCS 2, where Phoenix 1 and FlyQuest are currently fighting to avoid the promotion tournament. FlyQuest up 1-0 in the series. Enjoy.
Telegraphed enough that Ryu is totally